Driving back the Solarian interceptor forces, we took the floating continent Mahanan. It was the central hull of a colossal spacecraft with a diameter of at least 40 kelts. Judging by the condition of the hull, we estimated the ship was thousands of years old. For those wondering, the Eldridge is the ship in the opening cinematic. And we finally know why they showed us that. It's all coming together. It was determined by examining the inside of the wreckage that some kind of accident occurred on the ship about 10,000 years ago, which forced it to crash onto our planet. Alien beings that came to our planet from a far-off galaxy aeons ago. Could it possibly have been that our ancestors were the passengers of this ship and had crash-landed here on this planet? Not exactly. It's a little bit more complicated than that, Fei. Seeking God and his divine wisdom, Raziel's tree, which it is said lie here in Mahanan, we proceeded further. This looks a lot like an anima relic room, like they're reused assets. In the depths we saw an alien form. It was partially rotted and petrified. A giant, grotesque being. It gave off an inexplicable air of intimidation. Perhaps it was more than a gut reaction. Perhaps it was the fear of the absolute that came from the very depths of our inherited instincts. Whelp is rapidly running out of healing, because it took a lot more. Aw. Did he lock up and freeze? Aw. Damn it. I didn't say we're gonna have to watch that awkward scene where everybody talks at each other. Curses. Good old technical difficulties. Should have saved. Well, it looks well and truly frozen, so I'm gonna reset the device and we're gonna try this again. Thank you, Kylor11, for the follow. Much appreciated. We are restarting Xenogears after a technical difficulty. And gonna jump back in and see if we can't fix it. That fight has a glitch with that specific attack. Okay. So I was not familiar with that, because I don't think I've ever seen a glitch with that. Happens on PS2 and some emulators. Yeah, I got the PS2, so that's probably why I don't remember seeing it on previous. Well, let's go talk to Elly again. What was the attack, out of curiosity? Because I know he does the AoE that reduces everybody's health. He did some kind of like space attack against Fei, and then he also did like a claw attack. Single target ether attack. Okay. Yeah, this scene is kind of good and bad. Like, it is good that they're finally talking and they're having a conversation. they're both still kind of avoiding. Well, actually, Elly is. Elly at this point is finally just like, no, I love you. That's why I want to be with you all the time, and I know that I can't. And Fei's just like, yeah, I need you to. Should be the one I described as a space attack. Well, I used it one time and it didn't lock. But, interesting. But yeah, so Elly's the one who's genuinely honest in this, and Fei's just like, I need you as somebody I can return home to because I'm terrified of turning into a monster. And it just, still kind of a shit reason. But she at least gets him and understands what he needs to hear, which is at least one of them in a relationship has their head screwed on properly. I'm not bothering to reread any of this stuff because we read it previously. Yabba 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 yabba. Talk about our feelings. Let's get laid. So interesting in the final product of this game, which scenes got cinematics, because they clearly made some stuff before they ran out of money. But I can kind of see where they would have had to cut those out and remove anything. I thought their budget got pulled. Time limit, okay. But, yeah. That just seems like such a strange scene to animate like that. It's very lovely, but it's such a strange scene to animate. Same with, like, the yelling at somebody in the forest earlier. The fight against the Sufal mass. Square had a firm 2-year time limit on making new games. Yeah. Yeah, I can see this one could have used a lot more polish, and I'm curious what they could have made if they'd had, like, 3 or even 4 years, or God forbid 5. But I guess we kind of got that with the later, like, Xenosaga, Xenoblade games. So, because they revisit a lot of similar topics and themes, and I was watching well, yeah, I know that much, because they jumped right from, like, Xenosaga 1, then 2, and then Xenosaga 3 is like, yeah, that whole adventure we had off screen. It's like, wait a minute, what? I doubt that was the only thing either. But watching somebody play Xenoblade, there's a lot about that resonates with this, because made by the same people, probably. But what were the production issues with Xenosaga? A few other things they released only in Japan. Okay, makes sense. Xenosaga's weird, kind of connected to this, but not, like... From my understanding, like, Xenosaga... How can I describe it from my understanding of it? Because I want to, like, make a Star Wars reference of, like, Xenosaga is episode 1 that they then split into 3 pieces, but that's not really what Perfect Works says about it. It was something they came... I mean, they use similar concepts like the Zohar and things like that, but it's so functionally different than them that they are... Zohar is different in each one. It's been a long time since I played Xenosaga, so the Zohar might be different. But in general, I would say, like, not at all the same device. But, which is just complicates things, I think. But yeah, I mean they are functionally different stories. Even if in my own, it isn't a power supply in Xenosaga, it's a gateway. I'll take your word for it. But even if they were related, they are separated by more than 10,000 years. So it's just it's functionally an entirely different story. It's fully with different people from a different culture. So it's just, yeah, they are so wildly different. They are only tangentially related at best. Zohar is not a physical object in Xenosaga. I'm pretty sure they're moving it around on a ship. They might be clamping down a metaphysical concept, but... Alright. That was the ultimate power. The partially rotted thing eventually self-disintegrated. We proceeded even further.